talk about stress like it's just a feeling, right? Some kind of mental state we need to manage. But what if I told you that chronic stress isn't just in your head? It's a full-blown physical construction project. And the main contractor? A hormone called cortisol. So in this explainer, we're going to look at cortisol not just as the stress hormone, but as this powerful biological remodeling agent that is actively reshaping your body and your brain. For better, and as you'll see, often for worse.
And that right there, that's the huge paradox at the heart of this whole story. This quote just nails the high-stakes game our bodies are playing every single day. The very chemical system that evolved to save us from, a lion jumping out of the bushes is the exact same system that's now leading to chronic illness, anxiety, and total burnout in our modern world. So how did that happen? How did our greatest savior become our silent saboteur?
Well, to really get it, we have to appreciate cortisol's dual nature. It's truly both a savior and a destroyer, a hero and a villain. And it all comes down to one single crucial factor: time. The difference between a 60-second emergency and a 60-day crisis, that is everything. Let's see how this actually plays out inside our own bodies.
Does this sound familiar to you? It's 3 in the morning. Your body feels heavy, completely exhausted, like you're pinned to the mattress. But your mind? Oh, your mind is running a marathon. It's this high-voltage wire just buzzing with worries, to-do lists, replaying conversations, or, hey, maybe you feel it as brain fog, that sensation of wading through mud just to remember why you walked into a room. This is not you being lazy or getting old. This is a physiological state. It has a name: allostatic overload. It's the signature feeling of your body being trapped in the red line.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how this breaks down the two different scenarios. Over on the left, you've got the sprint. This is what cortisol was designed for. A lion shows up and bam, you get a massive 60-second flood of the hormone. It dumps sugar into your blood for instant energy, shuts down anything non-essential like digestion, and gives you laser focus to get away. You survive, threat's gone, system resets. It's beautiful, really. But then you look at the right, the marathon, and this is modern life. The lion isn't a predator anymore. It's the mortgage payment, a demanding boss, the 24/7 news cycle. These things don't just disappear after 60 seconds. So instead of a flood, you get this endless drip, drip, drip of cortisol. And that leads to energy dysregulation, that wired but tired feeling, and a state of constant alert that eventually just breaks the system.
So what's actually happening here is something called feedback failure. Think about your body's stress response system, the HPA axis for short, like a smoke detector. In a healthy system, the alarm goes off, you put out the fire, and then you hit the button to turn the alarm off. Simple. But with chronic stress, that off button, it just stops working. The alarm keeps blaring day and night. And eventually, your cells get so used to the noise that they start to ignore it. They become resistant to the signal. And that's when your body enters this state of constant, low-grade emergency. It thinks it's in a war zone even when you're just sitting on your couch.
And this, right here, is where things get really fascinating. And honestly, a little scary. When your brain believes it's in a permanent state of emergency, it doesn't just put up with it, it adapts. It starts this deliberate physical remodeling project to optimize your entire system for survival. It's literally rebuilding the house while you're still living inside.
In this remodeling, it happens in a 5-stage loop. First, you get that acute spike, the initial trigger, the smoke that sets off the alarm. Second, if that stressor sticks around, you get feedback failure. The off switch breaks. Third, and this is so key, your body starts prepping for a long-term siege. It begins storing energy in the most accessible way it knows how, as visceral fat around your organs. That stubborn stress belly, that's not a failure of willpower. That's your body building an emergency fuel tank for a war it thinks is coming. Fourth is neural pruning, where the brain itself literally changes. And finally, stage 5, a new baseline. Being trapped in the red line just becomes your body's new normal.
This is so important to understand. The changes happening in your body are not a mistake. They're not a sign of weakness. From your brain's point of view, this is a brilliant, totally logical adaptation. It thinks the world is full of constant threats, so it is methodically rewiring you to become a hyper-efficient, high-alert survival machine. The only problem is, the brain's definition of survival and your definition of a happy, thriving life are two very different things.
This slide shows the most profound part of that whole remodeling project. It's a process called neural pruning. Your brain literally starts reallocating resources. It looks at your prefrontal cortex, the sophisticated, thoughtful part of you, the part that handles logic, planning, and empathy, and it decides, you know what? That's an expensive luxury we can't afford in wartime. It actually begins to shrink the gray matter in this region. At the exact same time, it looks at your amygdala, your brain's primitive fear and rage center, and sees a vital sensor. So it strengthens its connections, making it bigger and more sensitive. This is the biological reason why, After months of chronic stress, you might find yourself snapping at people you love or just feeling overwhelmed by the smallest things. You've been physically rewired for vigilance over wisdom.
But why? I mean, why would our incredibly smart brains start such a self-destructive process? Well, the answer is buried deep in the brain's most ancient operating system. It's an old survival program, and it will always choose staying alive over being happy.
And here's the core directive: survival primacy. You know, we like to think of our brain as this enlightened machine that wants us to be happy and creative, but that's not its main job. Its number one non-negotiable directive is to make sure you live to see tomorrow. It will always sacrifice your long-term health and happiness for your short-term survival. It just doesn't care if you have a heart attack at 60 if its actions can keep you from being eaten by that lion at 30.
I absolutely love this metaphor, the penthouse versus the basement. Think about your brain's energy budget. The prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, that's the luxurious penthouse suite. It's amazing, but it costs a ton of energy to run. So when a crisis hits, it's the very first thing the building manager, your brain, shuts down to save power. Meanwhile, the amygdala, your survival brain, that's like the boiler room in the basement. It's not fancy, but it's brutally efficient and cheap to run. It keeps the basic systems online. Your brain will always sacrifice the penthouse to keep the lights on in the basement.
And over time, this whole process becomes a learned skill. It's a result of your brain's incredible ability to adapt, something we call neuroplasticity. But in this case, it's maladaptive plasticity. It's an adaptation that hurts us in the long run. See, every time you worry, every time you stew over a stressful email, you're practicing. You're strengthening that neural pathway for anxiety. You have practiced being stressed for so many hours and days and years that your brain has become an absolute world-class expert at it. The neural road to anxiety becomes a 12-lane superhighway, while the path to calm becomes this forgotten, overgrown trail in the woods.
Okay, so that's the problem. It's a biological system, an ancient program, and it's stuck in a nasty loop. So what on earth do we do about it? Well, the good news is we are not just passengers here. We actually have the ability to reach in and take manual control of the system. We can learn to manually re-engage our body's own relaxation response.
The key thing to get here is that you can't just think your way out of a physical state. You have to use your body to signal to your brain that the danger is over. So here are 4 powerful, science-backed ways to signal safety. First, use the physiological sigh to manually reset your nervous system. Second, move your body. That's cortisol cleansing, to literally use up all that stress hormone. Third, get morning sunlight to set your body's master clock. And fourth, apply a non-lethal label to the stressor to get your logic centers back online.
Let's really focus on that first one because it's the fastest, most direct biological hack we have, the physiological sigh. Now, this is not just taking a deep breath. It's very specific. It's 2 sharp inhales through your nose, back to pop open all the tiny air sacs in your lungs. And that's followed by 1 long, slow, extended exhale through your mouth. This simple action mechanically stimulates the vagus nerve, which is the main brake pedal for your nervous system. It sends an immediate, undeniable signal straight to your brainstem that says, the threat has passed. We can stand down. It is your body's built-in reset button.
And this brings us to the final, and I think most empowering way to look at all of this. It really requires a fundamental shift in how we see ourselves and our brains. You're not a victim of your stress. You are the manager of your own internal world. You are the gardener.
This right here is the ultimate takeaway. For so long, we thought of the brain as this fixed thing, like a stone, unchangeable. But it's not. It is a living garden. The neural pathways are the soil. Your thoughts, and even more importantly, your actions, are the seeds. Those pathways of anxiety that have become overgrown superhighways, well, those are weeds. But you have the power to stop watering them. You can actively plant and cultivate new pathways for calm and safety. You can prune back the fear and tend to the logic.
But the key to tending that garden, and this is something we so often get wrong, is realizing you can't just stand there and wish the weeds away. You can't just think positive thoughts and expect the fear center in your brain to shrink. And why not? Because you are caught in a physical, biological trap. The alarm is blaring, your body is in lockdown, and positive thinking just can't shut off that deep, primal system.
So, if you can't think your way out of it, what do you do? How do you break a cycle that is so deeply wired into your physiology? How do you tell a brain that has become an expert at finding danger that the war is finally over?
You have to move your way out. You use your body, through the physiological sigh, through exercise, through sunlight, to send the signals of safety that your brain can no longer hear from your thoughts alone.
You have to physically demonstrate safety to your nervous system. You have to act your way into a new way of being. And that is how you stop the remodeling project and start building a brain that's designed not just for survival, but for a life that is truly well lived.